Hello everyone and welcome back to Packs and Recreation, and today is Recreation Day, and you know what that means? Recreation Day plus a Dragon Ball background, that means Dragon Ball figures, and Gohan is ready for the fight with what many consider his nemesis, the ultimate, the perfect being, Cell. However, here he's not perfect yet. This is another Ichibansho because I think I kind of bought the entire collection. Without realizing, is a second form Cell from the Cell saga, right? So Gohan doesn't actually fight with this version. Vegeta and Trunks are the ones that fight with this version. So if you already saw the Vegeta video, basically Vegeta fights with this guy, right? So it's funny because these are from the same line, right? Ichibansho figure, masterlized, great panel looking, like Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball manga cover looking thing. Actual size, color, style, and decoration may vary, but great looking box with perfect Cell here, and with perfect Cell here, second form Cell, and here he's with all the cockiness, and the product is included, which is always important. The official name for this, you saw it in the title, but is an Ichibansho figure Cell second form versus Omnibus. Amazing. So it is amazing indeed. It contains one piece of figure, so it's interesting that I have to put that in there, and this is a masterlized figure, so you can hear my gloves against the box. So you can see very nice size for this baby right here, and we're gonna open it. Although, you know, Gohan is ready to hit him right in the face, or maybe not, because historically, every time that Gohan had the upper hand against an enemy, he gets incredibly cocky and fails to do his job, which it's funny because the first time it happens is the Cell saga, and you can be like, well, he was a kid. But remember, Gohan is always younger than what you think he is. So in the Cell saga, he was a kid, and you know, he got cocky in Super Saiyan 2. He didn't finish Cell. Goku had to intervene, and then he felt very bad and was like, "Oh no, if I effed up, Dad. I need you to, I failed, etc." Then Goku helps from beyond, and they do the father-son Kamehameha, and everything is epic. Then Gohan becomes. Why is this thing so difficult to open? Why? Then Gohan becomes the main character for a while in Dragon Ball, in the Buu saga, and then he gets another power up, from nowhere with the Z Sword and all that, and Z Sword, because Caesar is a Pokemon, and amazing figure, and he gets very powerful out of nowhere. He gets his ultimate form. He once again becomes incredibly cocky and fails at his job, which is why Goku and Vegeta need to fuse, and then they need to go inside Majin Buu to free all the people that he absorbed, more specifically their family, right? So Gohan didn't learn the lesson, but funny enough, in the Dragon Ball Super Hero movie, where, Cell Max appears again, and Cell Max is basically Cell again, and Gohan's beast form is basically Super Saiyan 2 with a different hair color, because Dragon Ball Super is all about color palette changes, like a fighting game. Nice, and then obviously the tail is always separate, very big tail. I was not expecting such a thing. As usual, Gohan once again gets a power up out of his ass and gets cocky once again. So Gohan learned nothing from any of his encounters, and Piccolo has to remind him of, you are here to finish the fight, don't get cocky, this happened already. So Gohan never learns. But I digress. I can talk about Dragon Ball for hours. Let's talk about second form Cell, the one that Vegeta actually fights. This collection, this set of figures from Ichibansho, the versus Omnibus, amazing. You have to put the tail in here, which, it makes sense because otherwise the box had to be ginormous, and likely will break. The texture of the tail is interesting because it has this texture that I don't know if you can see. The texture that all these figures have, that is like has these lines. It makes it look like a kind of a drawing. This is more or less difficult to put in so that it doesn't look too much, but it's a nice cut off point because, you know, the tail comes from the back, so it makes sense. And it spirals around him and he looks all badass in that welcome position. So one thing that I already commented about these figures, in this collection, in the Versus Omnibus Amazing, the first three is Goku and Raditz from the Saiyan Saga, then is Piccolo and Gohan from the end of the Saiyan Saga, and then it suddenly is Vegeta and Cell from the Cell Saga. It's like, okay, kind of not much of a theme there, but okay. Is that they try to recreate panels from the manga, or at least frames from the anime. And that's what they want to go for in the box. So if you put in the same angle, you get more or less the same thing, but any other angle, and the figures look kind of weird. But that's okay, because they're trying to move to 2D, to 3D, something that is originally in 3D. So if you look at Cell and you put him like this, he looks just premium, just what you want. But if you put him like this, he looks very weird, right? But that's kind of what you get. Same thing if you put him on the side. So some people look at these figures and they say like, well, they are not very accurate. I will say the opposite. As someone that kind of knows the manga and show from memory, it's all about the box. So if you look at the box, this is kind of the angle that you need to go for with the figure, which is basically just putting the figure standing up. And that's kind of the angle that you want. And yes, this is weird because I need to put this in an angle that the camera will see it. But when you see it, it's spinning on the plate. You will see what I mean is that Cell needs to be like this, right? You need to, it will stand on an angle, so you see his face like this. If you see his face like this, then yes, he looks weird. Same here, but that's his face. So it's moving something 2D to 3D, similar to what they did in Dragon Ball FighterZ or FighterZ. Where, you know, they had to distort some angles in 3D so that the camera will sell you the idea of the thing looking like the show. Because sometimes in 2D you need to do impossible proportions just to sell a vibe or something like that. So, you know, in terms of finishes, this figure is pretty cool. You can see all the spots on Cell are actually embedded, like 3D spots in his body, so that's cool. It's not just black spots painted, like they're actually holes in his body, which is cool because you will think that Cell's body was just spots, but it's like holes. That black thing is holes. He's just black underneath, which is cool. And then you have this liney texture all over the figure, which is pretty cool. So here in the back area too is pretty cool. If I had to, then you have all the blues, everything is there. If I had to complain about anything, maybe a lack of shadows, but again, if this is to imitate the anime, there was a very plain color palette. That's why is golden hair for Super Saiyans, but we see it yellow, right? So that's kind of the thing. The tail is kind of interesting. Now the needle, as it came out of the box, is kind of, let's say that Cell is not very happy to see me. Technically, this thing will have to be a little bit up. So I guess you can force it a little bit, hold it with something until it becomes that shape, but if not, well, it is what it is. This is when he presents himself. The figure is very heavy and very robust, but contrary to the other figures, it doesn't hold itself. It actually falls back a little bit, mostly because of the tail. And this may be the first figure where this thing is absolutely necessary, and yet this one doesn't fit in his feet. So I guess this is for you to put in here. Yes. So you put it in the back, just like that, and it becomes it holds the figure. So now we're going to do something for the first time in the channel, and is that we're going 3D, baby, and I'm going to show you what I mean. So, and then I will show you this. So this is Cell. See, if you see it from the front, it looks as intended, same as the box, right? So that's the thing, and it holds with the with that base right there. So it's all about the base, not treble. This base is one of the best ones, I think. It's just because it is hidden behind him, as you can see, and is actually holding all the weight. That's why he suddenly became robust. See, I'm pushing him, and he doesn't fall because the tail is resting on top of it. But ironically, since it's kind of hidden behind his feet, it doesn't bother me at all. I think it's the best one. It's not like a weird chunk of plastic that is just, in one of his feet, is on the back, and is not bothering me at all. So you will see it spinning on the plate, but this thing looks very cool and very menacing. See, there you go. That's the plane that you want for this. Because if you have this figure looking at you on the table at the same height as you, it looks like this, which is okay, it's great. But if you do like this, which is actually where you want to see it, if it's on the same table as you, this is second form Cell. And this figure is great and is very tall, as you can see. So I love it. Normally these Ichibansho figures, I love them. You will see them spinning in a while, but hey, this is the new thing for the channel that you can see. You can see we worked on this, baby. Now I can actually move the camera and I can show you these things in detail. For the other figures, I didn't think of it, which makes me feel very dumb. But now I know the best thing to do, and you will see them spinning as I talk. So this is actually pretty cool. This figure is pretty great, I will say. Now, again, I moved it. It doesn't have the base anymore. It dangles, so you have to really be careful with that. If I had to put an if to this figure, the if that I will put is that that needle is not super duper. It should be a little bit like this, but I may be wrong, because if you look at the box itself, you see that it's actually kind of pointing down. So maybe that's the thing, because it's kind of spiraling all over him. So it's kind of to finish the spiral on his tail. I don't know. I think it looks pretty cool and I love it. So with this new view, this new three-dimensional view for the channel, because we moved from 2D art to 3D figures. We do everything in this channel, baby. I would like to hear your thoughts about these figures, and if you like the Ichibansho figures, and as usual, do you recommend it? Well, if you like Dragon Ball like me, I think these are one of the best figures you can get. It's kind of on the pricey side compared to the value figures or price figures that are more expensive, but it's actually pretty cool. And I just realized that due to the new setup, the other microphone was actually too far away from me. So my apologies to the editor. Maybe we can use the phone audio for a while, but well, we are growing. We are figuring out things as we go. But overall, I do like the Ichibansho figures a lot, and I think these things are great and great value too, and great detail. And in this case, for Cell, this is the first Cell figure that I have, at least of a very good quality. And this is the first time I realized that the black spots are not spots, they're actually holes in his body. So that's actually freaking great. And with that menacing view, I will say you thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you next time on Packs and Recreation. Bye.